Mike and Sarah seemed like the perfect couple after 7 years of marriage. On the outside, Sarah was vibrant, outgoing, and the life of the party, while Mike was calm, reserved, and always working to ensure their lives were stable. Mike adored Sarah and would do anything for her, but recently, he noticed a change. She became more distant, spent hours on her phone, and frequently stayed late at work or went out with friends. One evening, Mike decided to surprise Sarah with a dinner at her favorite restaurant, hoping to reignite their connection. When he arrived to pick her up from work, Sarah wasn't there. Confused, he texted her, "Hey, I'm at your office. Where are you?" It took her a while to reply, "Out with clients, I'll be late." "Don't wait up." Mike's gut told him something wasn't right. Instead of going home, he decided to follow his instincts. He drove to the bar Sarah often frequented with her colleagues. There, he found her sitting in a cozy booth with one of her coworkers. They were laughing, leaning close, and at one point, Sarah touched his hand in a way that made Mike's stomach drop. Mike didn't confront her. He walked out, his heart pounding, and decided he needed time to think. Over the next few days, Mike became a detective in his own marriage. He checked her phone bills, found late-night texts, and even looked through her social media. The signs were undeniable. Sarah was having an affair. A week later, Sarah threw a party for some work friends at their house. Mike played the polite host, pretending to know nothing, but he couldn't help but watch Sarah and her coworker exchange lingering glances and shared whispers. At one point, Sarah, clearly tipsy, made jokes about Mike. "Oh, Mike's such a bore sometimes," she said, laughing. "He's so predictable. Honestly, I don't know how I keep up with him." The room erupted with laughter, and Mike felt humiliated. That was the final straw. In the following weeks, Mike planned his revenge. He hired a private investigator to gather concrete evidence of the affair. He also started liquidating some shared assets, ensuring Sarah wouldn't have access to them if things went south. Mike contacted a divorce lawyer, preparing for the inevitable fallout. But the breaking point came when Sarah took a weekend trip, claiming it was for work. Mike, knowing better, tracked her location using a device he'd secretly placed in her car. When he saw she was at a secluded resort, he knew for sure. When Sarah returned, Mike was waiting for her. He handed her a folder containing pictures, text messages, and receipts from her rendezvous. She turned pale, stammering, "Mike, I can explain." But he interrupted, "Don't bother. You humiliated me, lied to my face, and thought you'd get away with it. Now it's my turn." Within days, Mike filed for divorce. He exposed Sarah's affair to her family, friends, and even her boss, resulting in disciplinary action for Sarah and her coworker. In the end, Mike walked away with most of their shared assets, leaving Sarah with nothing but guilt and a ruined reputation. Though it was painful, Mike found a sense of closure. He'd taken control of a situation that had once left him powerless. After the divorce papers were served, Sarah initially denied everything, but the evidence Mike had was undeniable. Her pleas for forgiveness fell on deaf ears. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something you didn't mean," Mike told her, his expression cold. "You made choices, deliberate, repeated choices to betray me. There's no coming back from that." The divorce proceedings were swift. Sarah lost the comfortable life she'd taken for granted, her job, and her self-respect. Her affair partner cut ties with her, unwilling to face the backlash. Meanwhile, Mike used the time to rebuild his life. He reconnected with old friends, rediscovered hobbies, and even started going to the gym, focusing on his health. Months later, a mutual friend approached Mike at a coffee shop. "You've really turned things around," she said. "Sarah's a mess. She's been telling everyone that she regrets everything and she's miserable without you." Mike shrugged. "She made her bed. Now she has to lie in it." At a work party, Mike met Laura, a kind and intelligent woman who shared his values and interests. Unlike Sarah, Laura was genuine and down-to-earth. The two quickly hit it off, and their relationship blossomed into something meaningful, built on trust and respect. Meanwhile, Sarah struggled to rebuild her life. She tried to reconnect with old friends, but people had grown wary of her, aware of her affair. One day, she sent Mike a message, "I'm sorry for everything." I wish I could undo the pain I caused you. You didn't deserve any of it. Mike read the message, but didn't respond. Instead, he closed the app and returned to his present life, where he was finally happy and at peace. Revenge, Mike realized, wasn't just about exposing Sarah's betrayal. It was about proving to himself that he could rise above it and live a better life without her. And he had done just that. Months passed, and as time healed the wounds, Mike found himself more content than ever. He continued seeing Laura, and their relationship grew stronger. Sarah's life, however, was far from rosy. The affair had left a permanent scar on her reputation, and her old privileges had disappeared. She no longer had the influence or freedom she once enjoyed. One evening, Sarah called Mike, her voice trembling. "Mike, I need to talk. Can we meet?" Mike agreed, curious if she had truly learned anything from her actions. When they met, Sarah looked worn down, her hair disheveled, her eyes puffy from lack of sleep. "I've lost everything," she admitted. "I thought I could control everything, but I was wrong. I hurt you. I hurt everyone who cared about me, and I don't know how to fix it." Mike leaned back in his chair, taking a deep breath. He hadn't expected this kind of admission, but it didn't change anything. He looked her in the eye and replied, "You can't fix it. The damage has been done. What's important now is that you live with the consequences." Sarah wiped her eyes. "I deserve this, don't I? I've lost you, I've lost my job, and I've lost my self-respect. I don't know how to move on from here." Mike felt a pang of sympathy for the person Sarah had become, but there was still too much pain. "I can't fix you," he said. "You have to do that for yourself. But don't expect anyone to feel sorry for you. This is your new reality. You made your choices, and now you have to live with them." There was a long silence. Mike stood up, ready to leave. "I hope you figure things out, but I'm done being part of your story." As he walked away, Sarah stayed seated, alone with the weight of her regret. Mike realized then that the true revenge wasn't about watching her suffer. It was about taking back his power and living a life free from betrayal. With that, he felt a true sense of closure, no longer bound by the past or Sarah's toxic presence. His life with Laura, his renewed sense of self, and the peace he had built were the ultimate revenge, far better than the life he'd ever imagined with Sarah.